So in this video, I wanted to just talk about the impact that we have on other people's lives and future generations here in Hawaii. And this applies to locals as well as non-residents. I mean, we all have an impact on each other because Hawaii is a really small place. My auntie recently died, and it got me thinking about her life and how she impacted me. And if you know anything about Hawaii, auntie is a term that is used fairly loosely. She wasn't really my aunt, she was more like my great aunt. But over the years, I look back and I can see all the ways that she touched my life, how she impacted, how she helped me along the way. And I really just wanted to recognize that. And maybe as you're hearing some of the stories that I'm gonna share, it can remind you of the ways that other people helped you along the way, or more importantly, I think, the ways that we can help people today. And these instances may not have felt like a big deal back then, but looking back on her life now and my life now, it had a tremendous impact. And I also want to save these memories for myself because I'm going to be probably pretty forgetful and not remember these one day. And hopefully my sons can look back on this video and they'll see that, yeah, where their dad got to in his life wasn't just because of him, that other people helped him, other people lifted him up and helped him to get there. So I'm going to go all the way down here on King Street. She actually had a store salon, and so I'm gonna go and run over there. Haven't ran in months, but I figure it's a nice morning to go for a run and just talk about her and what she did in my life along the way. Hello from Hawaii. Shaking off the rust. Haven't gone running in a really long time. Hoping I don't pull a muscle. So think about my auntie. She's pretty old school. She grew up in Kalihi with my grandpa them, and she graduated from Farrington. She had this salon on King Street, which is where I'm planning on going. And of course, as kids growing up, she would give us free haircuts. But I remember that, it had this very distinct smell. It was like that salon hairspray. I don't know what all the chemicals were, that smell. And she had a dog and magazines, and she had a pretty steady bunch of clients. I'm actually kind of surprised how clean it is. Normally, when I drive down King Street, it's usually full of trash and usually homeless people, but it's actually pretty good. And because of where her shop was located, I actually would go there after school when I went to Washington Middle School, and I'd go there and I'd wait for my dad. She'd always have soda and snacks for me. She usually had maybe a couple of customers, and she'd have a soap opera on, a lot of magazines to kind of go through. And I remember at the time, for some reason, I was so nervous about this gang of skateboarder kids that were in my school. I don't know why I was so nervous about them, but I was. And so I would use her place as this sort of safety place, this sort of refuge, so I wouldn't have to deal with them. And then of course, back in the 90s, the rave was all the highlighted hair. If you grew up in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about, right? The frosted hair. And while most of my friends were doing it with home kits by themselves, my auntie was so generous to do it for me professionally. And so I would go into her place and she'd put the cap on and she'd pull out my hair and make the paste, and then I have to sit there, my eyes burning. But afterwards, it always looked great. She always did a professional job. I mean, that's her business. And she never asked for money. She just asked for a hug and a thank you, and that was enough for her. She was generous like that. And again, for her, I don't know how many highlights I've used up over the years, probably at least one every, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months. But it was important, and this is where I walked around with a lot of those highlights over the years in middle school. And it was thanks to her that my hair looked so good. And later on in high school, she actually helped me get the penthouse suite at the Hawaii Prince Hotel for senior prom. And that was very, very generous of her. She must have known somebody at the hotel, but she just hooked us up and we were able to get that spot. And yeah, it was great. Me and some friends, we split the hotel room, and yeah, we had a really wonderful time. Again, she didn't have to do that, but she just wanted to. And when I was in school, she actually used to live right over there, like the house, like right behind the Boys and Girls Club. That's where she used to live, but she eventually moved to a different spot. But yeah, sometimes my dad would drop me off there early in the morning. I'd hang out there for maybe 30 minutes and then I'd go and start school. I wish that I had stayed more in touch with her when I was on the mainland, but when I did come back to Hawaii, I made sure to connect with her every now and then. She would always give me money whenever I'd go to Japan, and she said, "Oh, here, just go." And you know, she'd usually give like $100 or something, which was really nice of her. And she'd always buy food, always make sure we got pastries, or she'd take me out to lunch sometimes and just be the two of us, just eating and talking story. She even gave me some Hiko stock, or Hawaiian Electric stock, which I know nowadays not doing so great after the Maui fires, but still, all the Hiko stock I have, it was gifted from her. And just that generosity, I mean, it's huge for me. And I remember when she retired and she had to close up shop, my mom was helping her clean up with some of my cousins and aunties, and I was there on one of the last days, and it was really strange to see her shop all empty. Just no chairs, no magazines, no supplies, nothing. It was just bare, and kind of sad, you know, because she had been there for so long, but eventually she just couldn't do it anymore and just had to retire. This used to be my spot after school. This is the spot right here. Gravy and rice bowl. Not on the menu, but I think it was like $1 or something, but yep, that's the spot. Oh, there it is. There's the stairwell. All right, here it is. This is, oh, I guess somebody else has a salon now. But these were the steep stairs that we'd go up every time and come up these doors. Bathrooms on the right, and her shop was right there. So as I think back on my auntie and all the things that she did for me growing up, and even as an adult, all the things that she did for me, you know, I'm just really thankful to have people like that. And I think we all have people like that here in Hawaii, because we're so like close, we're so like family centered, that there's people in our lives who I'm sure we can all look back on and really just thank and appreciate all the small things they did for us. Again, me and my auntie weren't like super close, but close enough where she would give me haircuts and highlight my hair, take me out every so often, and really all that I did for her was just say thank you and try to be a good grandnephew, I guess. But the thing is, you never know what kind of impact you're gonna have on people's lives. You know, you just never know the small things that you do for them over the years. It could be $20 here or there for holidays, and maybe at the time, like me, I probably didn't appreciate it as much, but when you look back on a person's life and how they impacted you, it's huge. I'm always gonna remember her and all the things she did in my life, and I hope that, you know, we can all take that time to remember the things that people did in our own lives. And I hope that we can all make each other's lives just a little bit better, especially here in Hawaii, because you never know that small thing that you're gonna do for somebody else. Maybe these videos will be like that for some people. Maybe it'll help them, and hopefully they can look back and be like, oh yeah, you know, those are pretty helpful for me at the time. So, yep, it's probably the last time I ever come here, but you know, it's always gonna be my auntie's shop. She was here for I don't know how many years, at least as long as I've been alive. So, you know, gonna miss her, really proud of her, and yeah, make sure to take the people in your life before it's too late. Thanks for watching, and aloha.